Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about counterplay in chess. So, when you want to counterplay against someone, it's basically like a counterattack. Basically, let's say someone is attacking you, alright, and you're pretty much on the, you're defending, alright, and you're not really attacking, you're on the defending side, while your opponent is the one pressuring you. So, usually you don't like this, because it won't give you a chance to win. Usually the person that is attacking will have a higher chance at winning the game. So, in chess, what you want to do is counterattack or counterplay against it. So basically, then you would just come up with an attack of your own, or something that will kind of bring your opponent's attack down. It won't be as severe of an attack. So I'm going to talk more about this stuff later, so let's get started. Okay, so in this example, white is attacking this square on d5, and it's pretty bad for black because black is getting less space than he would want. That square is pretty well defended by white, and black probably wants some control over it. So black wants to do something about this. He wants to kind of loosen white's grip on d5. So how does he do this? So counterplay is when you basically just make some moves, so it kind of makes your opponent's attack not that great anymore. So in this case, black would want to loosen white's grip on d5 by making some other moves. And you might have noticed that white's grip on d5 are basically by two pawns that are watching d5. So black wants to kind of distract those pawns, probably draw them away or something. So black might go with a6. Now, after a6, white might not see any attack coming on, but what black is actually trying to plan is to move his pawn to b5. So let's say white just castles, just to get his king into safety, alright? And then, now black might want to go to b5. And in order for white to keep this pawn on c4, he needs to add another defender to it, because it's gonna get, a bit attacked, and white will probably lose it, because right now there's this pawn on b5 that's attacking the c4 pawn. There's a bishop, and there's even a rook, versus white's two defenders, a pawn and a bishop. So in order for white to make another defender, is to move this knight, so this rook could defend. So let's say white moves his knight up here. Okay, and then now black takes this queen. I mean, it wasn't a free queen, alright? This bishop takes back, and now black takes this knight. And notice how if white wants to keep the same material as black, then he would want to take with one of his pawns. Now, that is actually beneficial for black, because even though he has to move the bishop on e3, e6, he gotta move that bishop away. It will allow black to still have an attacking chance on that square d5. So basically, this kind of now white doesn't have as much control on d5 because now there's a pawn on d5, not a pawn that is defending d5. So this will kind of like make the position a bit more drawish before white had like a slight advantage. With the same example, let's say white doesn't want to move his knight away, alright? So let's just say he goes on with the attack. C takes b5. And then now A takes b5. Yes, black has a lone pawn on a b file, but like it's not much of a disadvantage. So now this happens, and then after A takes b5, bishop might take b5. Like, you know, try to get the pawn back. But then this is actually going to be a bit weak, because after bishop takes b5, rook can take c3, removing that defender of the bishop. So after the rook takes the knight, let's say I don't know, like let's say a queen goes, or even better, a rook. Rook defends, and then black just takes the bishop, and here the exchange is 2 minor pieces for a rook, which is kind of good. So what do you want to do as the attacker? You don't want your opponent to like come up with some sort of counterplay. So how do you do this? Basically, you just like look at the board from your opponent's point of view, and basically just like see what will your opponent do if he has a counterplay like chance. So, and then after looking at that, you gotta prevent that from happening, kind of like stop that plan from happening. So let's say here, white obviously has a bunch of queen space, and that's his main advantage. Black is kind of like getting sandwiched, and he's getting cornered a bit. Alright, he doesn't have that much space. So this is what he might do. He might go with b6, alright? And after b6, he might follow up with bishop b7, and then, you know, c5, and kind of like attack white's queenside advantage, and basically also like reveal he'll reveal an open diagonal for his bishop after c5 is played. So this will actually turn black's disadvantage with the queenside space into an advantage for his bishop. So black, he has a chance here, but white, he doesn't want this to happen. All right. So after b6, white could try to put it off with c5, and taking the c5 square before black can take it. And so basically, after this happens, maybe the pawn will take, and then after that, the d pawn will take. It's true that white kind of loses control when he moves that pawn from c4 to c5. He kind of loses control over d5 and b5, because then the pawn is like no longer defending those. But in the end, it's not that bad of a trade-off. Like, you sacrifice those 2 squares, but like in the end, white has even more space than before, with that nice little trade with the pawns. So now white is further strengthening his queenside space. So that will be about it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and learned a lot about counterplay and how to like strike back when you're on a defense, and how to like continue to make your opponent be on the defensive if you're the attacker. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and click that notifications bell to see more chess videos.